Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome to Work Trends with Megan and Biro. Whether you're here to network, learn, or share, we want you to have fun. During this live broadcast and Twitter chat, we'll discuss the future of work with smart and entertaining guests who value today's business and its impact on the world of work for the future. Stay tuned, because we start in 3, 2, 1.
Well, hey. Welcome to another informative talent culture work trends live podcast and Twitter chat. I'm having some fun with Blog Talk Radio. I got to tell you guys out there, what a roller coaster ride. About 30 seconds ago, I actually wasn't sure if we were going to have a podcast or not. Boy, oh boy, this is exciting. I'm kind of hoping that my special guest is on the dashboard with me right now. I'm excited about today's show, actually. I want to thank our sponsors. I want to give a special thank you to our community and our friends and all the people out there in the world of work who support us day in and day out. There's a lot of growth happening right now on the global front. It's actually at a dizzying pace. Even in this current economy, companies are expanding in or within regions where they need to build their workforce quickly and efficiently, right? Oftentimes, this means moving talent to the place it's needed most. I think today's topic is a really cool one because this has to happen now when there's huge competition for skills. Companies that focus on mobility, and that's today's buzzword, by the way, mobility, as part of their talent strategy, are going to see the most growth, performance, leadership, development, and retention. I recently addressed this topic in my weekly Forbes column, actually, to all you readers out there who are actually tuning in. I know we got a lot of content these days, so I certainly appreciate it if you are. And during my research, I learned that BRIC countries, this is Brazil, Russia, India, and China, for all of you out there who are curious, as well as the UAE and Qatar, are clearly hotspots for talent. And the trend is projected to not only continue, but increase by another 50% by 2020. So I am super excited to have Peggy Smith here today to discuss this important global topic with me. You there, Peggy?
Indeed, I am. Hi, Megan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Hey, listen, I know you'll get a chuckle out of this. Are you area code 703 on my dashboard right now? Because I've got all sorts of numbers popping up on my on-air stream here.
You got it. I am. I'm area code 703, sitting here and just in Northern Virginia, right outside of the nation's capital.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. I'm actually getting ready for my trip to D.C. I'm going to be down there for the annual SHRM conference in a couple of weeks.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. I don't know. Are you going to be there by any chance?
You know what? I actually think I'm going to be on the road. I hit the road tomorrow, and I'm not back here until middle or end of June.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, we're like two ships crossing in the day and the night, right?
You got it.
So listen, You guys have already had a chance to hear Peggy's voice. And she is the president and CEO of Worldwide ERC. She's a business leader and a global strategist. She's had an absolutely stellar career at Microsoft, where she expanded their workforce mobility reach from U.S. to global coverage. She's excited about what we're talking about today, kind of like I am. We kind of are geeking out about these dynamics right now with workforce mobility. And with Peggy at the helm, Worldwide ERC is increasing and educating its community of HR specialists, mobility experts, and global workforce pros all around the world. So welcome, Peggy.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm honored and delighted to be with you.
I'm excited about today's topic because I feel like mobility is sometimes confused with mobile. So tell us just a little bit about the word mobility, what that means right now, and talk to us just a little bit about that for starts, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, you bet, absolutely. Well, it's kind of interesting. It is a fun play on words. Years ago, when I was coming into being a president of Worldwide ERC, I had the opportunity to be on the front of our magazine, which is called Mobility, and I had somebody who saw that in my home community and thought it was something for wheelchairs. So I say that given the backdrop that it is a really strong and versatile word. In our context, it is literally the movement of talent around the world. So it's, making individuals be mobile and where they need to be if an organization needs talent in one geography or another.
Very cool. Well, tell us just a little bit more about, now that we kind of have that straight, tell us a little bit more about Peggy the person. Maybe I might even call you a personal brand. Is that all right today?
Whatever you want to call me.
Whatever I want to call you.
You got it.
Tell us a little bit about, what led you to kind of be in the career you're at today, and a little bit about that leap from Microsoft to where you are today too. Because, obviously people are interested in the idea that, you're not just Peggy the professional, you're Peggy the person. So tell us just a little bit more about Peggy the person and what drives you career-wise right now and what drove you to be in the role you're in.
Sure, Megan. I like to loosely joke that I missed a meeting, right? And the next thing you know, I at Microsoft was given the opportunity to lead their mobility function. And so with that, like so many of the professionals in our association and in our community, they come into this, nobody studies for it, so you come into this and you find you either have a strong passion around it, and I think the passion is really driven from, it is a people business. We are absolutely a people business, and so you find a lot of engagement around the people side. And I share that because not only in the professional lens is it a people business, but if you just step back for a second and ask yourself, and I'm sure, Megan, this has occurred with you, you probably have moved somewhere. And so that's equally a part of the people business. So we sit in a very unique lens to be able to engage on a B2B lens, but a B2B to C. So it was really the connectedness of the people that was fun and exciting for me. And in terms of sort of my transition from Microsoft, a very strong driver type A culture and environment striving for results, into this pathway in terms of having the opportunity to lead a nonprofit association. I had been around the association for 6 to 8 years before they had asked me to come over and take a look at this. And I tell you, I really enjoyed it. What I was able to do was take a very deep set of skills that I had learned while I was at Microsoft and flip that up on its side and look across a breadth of opportunities and experiences and skills. The biggest difference, for me.
How long were you at Microsoft?
I was at Microsoft about 13 years, and I had been doing this function there, for the last, 8 to 11 years.
Cool. Go on. I needed to ask you that question because as I look at Peggy and what you've chosen career-wise, 13 years is long enough to really, even a company as large as Microsoft, to really have a good sense of the culture, right? And a good sense of what was happening with innovation during that time period.
Oh, most certainly. I think, from a Microsoft lens, and in any of the tech companies that you're so familiar with, Megan, innovation is part of the DNA. And so it was a strong culture of fail fast, fail forward, and innovate. Lack of innovation was paralysis. And so in their mobile environment, and mobile in terms of mobility of employees, not their mobile phone platform, but in the mobile environment, I think that they found, and certainly when I was there, we found it was really important. And our focus for our employees was all around what was the experience we wanted our employees to have when they joined the organization. And so a lot of companies take a look at what they want their mobility platform to be, and moving their talent around the world based upon what they want that experience to be. And there's many different ways organizations can can sort of dissect or slice that to serve it up to meet their organization's objectives.
And is it safe to say that that's what you're focused on now? Because now you're at a nonprofit. It's an interesting leap to me to go from that culture to where you're at now.
Yeah, I think it's a terrific way to think about that, Megan. It was a leap, but the common thread was the people connectedness, the mobility aspect of it. And while I love Microsoft and I completely enjoyed my time there, the reality was I loved what this industry did more. And it said differently, I knew personally if I wanted to have career growth, Microsoft, being at the time considered a software development organization, the opportunity for increased set of responsibilities for me may not have existed in that environment. So this gave me a very natural bridge to stay in an industry that I love, I have great passion about, and yet grow my own personal skills and to use your term, brand, to grow a lot of that in a different way than what I had. But the key thing for me was all around not abandoning workforce mobility. I mean, it's what I love, and it's why I do what I do.
So tell us what exactly a future-focused talent strategy looks like right now. Break that down for us.
It's interesting. I'm going to say the first thing is that I'm not sure that the playbook has been written, and let me tell you why I believe that to be the case. I think in order to get your arms around a strategy, you have to step back and look at what is the ecosystem that we're in, and there's a couple of different sort of demographic things that are occurring for us right now. Across the world, in different parts of major geographies, the United States notwithstanding, there is an aging population, and there's not as much replacement of talent within an individual country. So if you look, in some of the countries that you even named, in Brazil, they have a very difficult time, and 70% of their CEOs indicate that it's difficult for them to fill positions. You look at Japan, they've got a very strong aging population. So you have to look within that ecosystem. So let me bring this in for you. The other dynamic that's occurring, and we're seeing this all over in the U.S., is this concept of the gig economy, that everybody that's coming into the workforce wants to work, quote unquote, for a gig. They want to be, sort of authentic unto themselves and not be, I think, beholden to an employer as it might have occurred when I joined the workforce. You have that coupled with, you've got, millennials, right, who have a strong desire to change.
Wait, what? I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard that term.
Yeah, I know.
Eddie,
we love
I'm
them.
kidding.
Yeah, exactly. We love these folks. They're wonderful, and I think they're important. And, they have a strong desire to change their responsibilities every 18 to 24 months. So when you ask about what's a future-focused talent strategy, you know what I'm going to do? I'm keen at always looking.
You're going to run the other way right now. It's like, wow, what a loaded question, huh? How you doing? You hanging in there with that question? Is it heavy enough for you? Enough angles?
Absolutely. I think there's a tremendous amount of angles. And I guess to just cap that off, I think you have to look at non-traditional business models. So as an example in that future challenge strategy, look what Hollywood has done for years and years and years. That's actually what that is. Tom Hanks doesn't always work with Steven Spielberg. And if he doesn't challenge himself to move out of traditional typecast roles, he'll always be in that place. Professional sports do a lot of that same free agency. Corporate America or corporations have to begin to adapt and adopt that same mindset. That's why I don't think that future for total talent strategy is written.
You're absolutely dead on, actually. I knew I liked you. Now I'm like, wow,
Fun topic.
It is a fun topic. And you're right. This is a very future future is now kind of topic, which everybody knows these are the topics that I love. This is what gets me up every morning, is the fact that there's no rule book right now. What we're talking about is actually unfolding before our eyes, and we're just grappling with how to make brands be more adaptive, more flexible, building something that is future focused. So I appreciate your answer to that. I think it's authentic, and I think this is absolutely unfolding. So to say we have a playbook for this would be complete hogwash today, you know?
I agree, Megan.
Yeah. No, just to boil it down for everybody out there, right? So how do you see, beyond just the Gen Z and Millennials being who they are, right? If we want to do that labeling game, which everybody knows out there, I'm a little reticent to do, but I'll play the game with you guys for data's sake today, right? How do you see Gen Z and Millennials, and frankly everybody else, growing as influencers and leaders right now? Like, how do you see them fitting in best with this mobility that's occurring right now? Is there anything that you see as a trend?
Oh, yeah, I see a number of different things. First off, I love them. I really do, and I'm not one of them. I'm just a little bit on the north side of the millennials, but I love them because I think what they do, they are challenging us to be better. And they're, we've often heard this word disruptors. They're what I would refer to as productive disruptors. And they're a group that really, that's why the gig economy is thriving, because they're born entrepreneurs, and status quo is not in their DNA. They challenge, why can't we do this another way? If you look across the spectrum of products that our country enjoys here in the United States, my goodness, who would have heard of a Facebook, 15 years ago? Look at the amount of apps that you have access to. Look at the youth that are developing major companies because they knew there was a better way to do something. So from my perspective, on a leadership basis, they have unleashed in a very authentic way, tapping into everyone's potential. And that is something that I think that sort of more seasoned individuals, executives, we don't have that quite as well. We don't know how to do that. We say, oh, we hired you for job A, you stay in job A and don't move across the wall. These people, not these people, but we're so fortunate to be able to have direct engagement with the youth because they're natural in this environment, and they're showing us an authentic way to tap that individual potential to do great things. And, Megan, there's even greater linkages back into companies that I could go on and on about, and the way universities are looking at that. It's a great time to be working.
Yeah, it is. It is, even though it's a challenging time because we're all grappling with new definitions and ways to communicate with each other, right? It's still very exciting. So when we start talking about iterations of communication, technology, and tools, are there any that come to mind to you that are absolutely game changers when it comes to talent mobility?
On a specific tool base, I would say the short answer to that is no, but I think there's a whole lot that are getting ready to be unleashed. And I think they're everything from a variety of different mobile apps. Again, the youth that are coming into the workforce now, we have, we're just graduated or about to send off to college our first bit of Generation Zs, right? So these individuals that are then going to come into the work environment are going to push the technology platform in mobility, so to speak. Now, that being said, I will say there are some, big companies out there. Jeff Weiner, CEO of LinkedIn, has said really boldly he wants to heat map all the talent around the world. And LinkedIn, arguably, with its vast number of, members and profiles, probably stands a pretty good chance of being able to do that. That just goes right up against then the next leg of this is sort of getting to a little bit of predictive analytics. But do I see a front runner out there today that has really done it in a breakthrough way. Not quite, but we see a lot of big companies making heavy investments into this space.
Okay. All right. Well, you certainly, we got one brand name out of you. LinkedIn.
I have to be careful in the nonprofit space. We love them all.
We love them all, and honestly, I'm going to be honest with everybody right here, right now. I think LinkedIn. There's a lot of people that are on that bandwagon, and frankly, they've done a lot of brand damage in the last couple of years too. I'll say. I mean, I think LinkedIn is a real mixed bag. I know many of my recruiter friends are very sour on LinkedIn. They feel that it's not as transparent as they could have been with all of what they're doing. But on the positive side of that, they are doing a lot of innovation, a lot of innovative stuff in terms of communicating and connecting and networking for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how that all develops,
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think it is looking at it. Any one platform in and of itself, regardless of what it is, certainly has areas for opportunity as well as a niche you're trying to carve. But it's going to be an exciting time, no doubt.
No doubt about it. So can you expand upon the growing desire right now for customization and global experiences that we're hearing about and seeing? I mean, tell us just a little bit more about that from your own lens, Peggy.
Sure. Megan, be delighted to do that. I think you have to separate them a little bit, and let's start with the easier, the global experiences. And it was interesting. It's about 9 months ago. My daughter is a junior in high school, and we did our first ever college fair. So there were 150 colleges there, and every single one, their ticket to the dance was that they marketed and shared that they'll give you the opportunity to study abroad. And I share that because that's just the entrance. So from a global experience, these kids that we're graduating, that's their expectation. And so it goes back even further. You have a lot more families that, well, we all love to go to grandma's house. The reality is they're vacationing in broader places. Why does this matter? Because they're being exposed at a very young age to a global experience. Colleges are recognizing that they have to have that to remain competitive, and therefore companies are recognizing if they want to tap into that best talent, they equally need to be able to offer a global experience. So it's being rooted at a very young age, and we're not going to turn that back necessarily. And then it's Megan. I think to the other part around customization. It is a customized world. Look at what the apps on our phone have done. They make me feel unique and individual, even though I know I sit within a sea of many
right.
people. Just look at consumer behavior. Any of the apps that you use. Amazon, arguably, however many different people are Prime members, and I don't know that number. Amazon still makes me feel like me. And so that customization, the way that things are either marketed to me on an advertising basis, the way they touch me, it's just amazing. You go out on any search engine and you could be searching for, baby diapers. And next thing you know, you're getting personalized ads from Johnson & Johnson, P&G, et cetera. That didn't exist too many years ago. And so it does feel like a very customized world, and mobility and the way that we deliver mobile services to individuals, they want to feel unique and special, even though they may be one of thousands of employees moved by a company. It's still really their own individual experience that matters the most.
Do you ever feel spammed on the other side of this? I know there's two sides of this coin, right? There's the, hey, I feel so special, yay. And then the other side is, wow, they're collecting a ton of data on me. Ads are popping up that I didn't sign up for. Do you ever experience that side of it, Peggy?
I'm going to say, Megan, for me personally, that answer is no. What I have found with that personalization and that customization, I don't think it's intrusive. For me, it's efficiency. I'm probably not too dissimilar to many of your listeners. I'm one of those families that both myself, my husband, we both work, we both travel. I find the efficiencies that I can gain are
Right.
So incredible. And what it does, I think if people were to change their minds on this a little bit, it actually frees up my time to do the things that I want to do with my family. Maybe it's going to the park, maybe it's going to the theater, but it's not driving necessarily to the store. So, but the beauty of it is you can still drive to the store if you don't enjoy that kind of customization. But for me, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. Very cool. Very nice. I enjoy it quite a bit too. I have a lot of bandwidth for stuff like that, whereas some of my other friends or colleagues are like, I can't stand this, and I'm like, but at least it's there and available to us, and it's listening. It's not perfect yet, though, right? We still got a long way to go for all of this, but very exciting times for sure. Tell me just a little bit about how organizations out there can offer more dynamic career path possibilities. Because I know that there's so many people out there and brands that I talk to that are really struggling to offer something unique to job seekers right now. Job seekers want more now, Can you give us some ideas around that?
Oh, sure. I'd love to share some ideas. I think I'm going to stitch this back to our earlier conversation, Megan, where we talked about this thing called the gig economy, where people want to do gigs. I think the dynamic that exists today is how can a company create a gig within a broader infrastructure? And there are a couple of great companies that out there are doing it. I'm sure there's many more that I don't know about, but Area 120 that Google is doing is an incubation unit that they're able to get talent in, and they don't want them to study search. They want them to go off and do something unique and interesting. Zappos has a culture of that, and those are just two big brands. There's lots and lots of them, and what they're finding is that if they can create that experience for somebody to be an individual and an entrepreneur within their broader company, they will only stand to benefit as well. So one, I think they've got to be able to tap into that dynamic career path in that way. Else, the people that they're going to want to attract may find themselves saying, you know what, it's not compelling enough. And so I'm saying this against the backdrop, it's a given. You better be able to carve together a global experience, going back to your earlier question, right?
Yeah.
So a dynamic career path, and there's great, lots of great companies are now looking and saying, you know what, we'll bring you into our organization, and we're going to guarantee you an opportunity to participate in a rotational assignment, so 6 months in anywhere in the world, or in this country or that country. Think how powerful that is, right? There's some great career pathing, and they're recognizing, you may not be here in 5 years or 7 or 10 from now. That's okay. What can we do together in 18 months or 24 months or 36 months? That's where they're finding the most power. And I think you're going to see a real change to the way companies actively market their brands in the recruiting phase, because they'll be talking more about that.
Well, listen, we're down to about two more minutes here. So tell us just briefly a little bit more about the Global Mobility Specialist, or the GMS program. I'm curious.
Oh, absolutely. Be happy to share that. This was something that we developed a few years ago as more and more companies, when I say a few, more than just a few, but as more and more companies were actively engaging and moving their talent across a border. And so when they began to move them across the border, we found that there was a real thirst for understanding some fundamentals of what that means. There's a lot of technical elements, Megan, around not just immigration, but taxation and compensation, and then, obligations relative to stock vesting and things along those lines. So this is a series of modules that are intended to help bring somebody along on that pathing. And then recently we just added a fourth module that ties into trying to link mobility with talent strategies. So it's an evolving platform for us, and pleased to say we've got a number of folks out there that have taken this program from us so they can have an understanding about what cross-border activity looks like.
Well, this has been a great conversation with you today, Peggy. Thanks for stopping by. I know we were going to take this conversation over to Twitter, so let's do that now, and let's stay close. Appreciate all your insight today.
You bet. Take care, Megan.